The Nets announced earlier yesterday, as I would say, since this video is being made late, that they were going to keep Kevin Durant and he's going to play out his remaining contract, which is for 4 years. So they're not going to trade him now. I suspected this was going to happen. I made a video earlier about this, how most likely this team was going to be kept together. You can look at my old video if you would like to check it out. But it went down as I suspected, that they were going to keep him simply because they were never going to get equal value for Kevin Durant. I figured this was going to be like a Scottie Pippen situation of what it was with the Bulls during the mid to late 90s, where every summer there was a trade rumor with Scottie, but they never went through with it when push came to shove. And I felt it was going to be the same deal with this situation. So it turned out to be that way. And with that being said, it just leads you to question, what does this season have in store for the Nets? Just how far can they go? What is their ceiling? So I'm just looking at this team's roster. They lost some key players from last year. So they lost Bruce Brown, who was a very solid role player. He was actually a very good role player in the system. I actually liked what he brought to the table. The other guys that they lost was Andre Drummond. They lost him. LaMarcus Aldridge, they didn't resign. He's still a free agent. I do think they should bring back LaMarcus Aldridge. He's still very solid. He was very good for them last year, averaging 12 points a game. He was still effective. So I still think he has a lot left in his tank, but with his current health problems with his heart, you just never know if teams want to take a chance on him a game. But I think the Nets should take a chance on him. So the other guy they lost, other key player they lost, is James Johnson. He's a solid player, but he's getting up there in age. He just turned 35, I believe. They lost Blake Griffin, but I don't think Blake Griffin really was anything of value last year. Okay, he averaged 6 points, but it was on 42% shooting, so he's pretty much washed. Losing him is not a big deal. And I'm just looking at who they have on their current roster now, just guys that they've added. So they didn't have TJ Warren last year, and they've added him this year. He missed all last season with a foot injury, but TJ Warren is a very good player, a guy who's capable of getting you 16 to 20 points a game. I think that's a huge addition. I actually like that signing. I think that's a pretty good signing for them. I don't know how they're going to play him, if they're going to start him or if he's going to be a sixth man off the bench, but he definitely helps them on the perimeter. So they signed Royce ONeal from what I see right here. Royce ONeal is a solid guard forward player that played for the Jazz for several years. He's still young, so he's a solid role player. I would say that was a good signing. I'm just looking through the list. Let's see if there's anybody else that they've added to the team that wasn't here last year. It looks like overall they kept their team. I think the biggest weakness for the Nets is that they don't have enough size. They have two centers, Nick Claxton and this guy named Day'Ron Sharp. So I've seen both of them play. They're both solid players. I would say as backups, they would be good backups in this league, but I don't think either of them is starter material. Granted, one of them will have to start, but then again, I'm not sure if they will start them. It just depends on the lineup the Nets play. So I've heard rumors that the Nets are going to play Ben Simmons at center, and they're going to play Kevin Durant at power forward. If they go with that lineup, I just think they're undersized. I also believe defensively it's going to cause a lot of problems. Ben Simmons is a great defensive player, but he cannot guard centers. I don't think he has the ability to do that, even with his size and length. I just don't think he's big enough to guard centers or power players, just like a Giannis or a Jokic or an Embiid. I just think that would be a complete mismatch for him. Just guarding a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, he's going to get scorched. So the Nets' biggest issue, I think, is going to be the big man position. I've heard also rumors that Kevin Durant does not want to play small forward. So if you continue to play him at power forward, you put Simmons at center, it's just going to be an undersized team to some degree. Just I'm not sure if they can really win at a high level with that type of combination. I do think if they're healthy and if Kyrie plays most of the upcoming season, that they could be a top 4 team in the East. I don't think they can be number 1 or number 2 seed the way that they're constructed, but there's a shot that they could be the 3rd seed if things go their way. I think it's a possibility, but they need to make some moves to get some more size. I think that's their greatest Achilles heel that they have coming into this upcoming season. They have a lot of good perimeter players from what I see here. Joe Harris is coming back, so that's another positive addition because he missed all last year. But I think this team at best is probably a 3rd seed in the East. But we'll see what happens. I think most likely they'll probably fall between 4 and 5. But yeah, but you never know. It really depends on Kyrie Irving. I think he's the key to their season. If he decides to take it seriously, they could possibly move up and be a top 3 team. So we'll see how this plays out. That's all I have to say.